On the 1st of January 2019, a man is taking a shower. Then all of a sudden, he collapses inside the tub. His girlfriend gets worried and comes inside the bathroom to check on him and sees his dead body inside the bathtub. The night before, they were at a New Year's party, and when the police showed up, they asked the girlfriend if they'd been using any type of drug or drinking too much. And she said, "We didn't even drink a drop of alcohol. We just went to party." The police take the body and take it to a laboratory to make sure what happened. They first take a blood test and realize that everything looks good and there's nothing unusual. Then they do a deep dive into the blood test to look at a little bit more precise. When they looked at it more thoroughly, they saw 3 extra things that don't really belong. A little too much testosterone, stanozolol, and nandrolone. And all 3 of these are steroids. The man that died was 24 years old, 178 centimeters, and he weighed 85 kilos. His weight was a little too much for his height, but that's because he lifted weights and he had a lot of muscle buildup, so he wasn't fat at all. After the autopsy, they realized that most of his organs are bloated, especially his heart. They realized that the death was caused by lack of blood circulation. Do you see this yellow gunk built up into the veins? That's resisting blood flow into the heart and out of it. The plaque buildup causes the circulation to slow down. But for a 24-year-old, something like this is impossible. This is only seen on very old people that have a very unhealthy diet for decades. After seeing the plaque buildup on a 24-year-old, that told them to check deeper into this guy's body. They went towards the artery. And the least you could say is that they were shocked, because 75% of the artery was blocked off. And again, an artery like this is only found on an old person that had had a terrible diet through their whole life. So the doctors came to the conclusion that this guy was a heavy steroids user. And they asked his girlfriend, "Did you know your boyfriend used steroids?" She said, "I know." And she listed 5 steroids he took: stanozolol, testosterone, tamoxifen, mestrolone, and nandrolone. To make sure this man did not have heart problems, they pulled up his family credentials to see if there is any heart problems in his family, and they realized that no one in his family had any heart problems or blood pressure issues. Then eventually, doctors wrote up the report. They first said that this man died of heart failure. But after they regretted that and they said we have to change it. They said this heart failure was due to a use of steroids that not only made his heart get bigger, but all of his organs were bloated. Even though this was only 5 years ago, but this was something pretty new, and that's why the doctors weren't very familiar with a situation like this. After 2019, with the help of social media, steroid usage has skyrocketed. And that's all because young boys see these influencers online that use steroids, and they get influenced to start using it themselves. Steroids doesn't just build muscles out of the blue, you still have to work very hard, but it brings some unnatural features that have never been seen naturally. Of course, you can't go to CVS and start buying steroids. It's something the doctor has to prescribe, and it's actually very difficult for a doctor to prescribe someone with testosterone, let alone other steroids. So these guys go to black markets. When a young man gets his hands on some steroids and they're working out, they see the results very quickly, and that motivates them to use even more steroids to get bigger. But they're doing this without knowing the consequences. They don't know using these types of steroids without the help of the doctor, they're ruining the balance of their body. Your muscles are growing, but you're causing damage to everywhere, especially your organs. They don't go to doctors, they don't take blood tests, and all the problems keep on adding up on each other. You might ask, what about healthy bodybuilders like Arnold? He's old and he's healthy. What about him? You have to know bodybuilders use steroids with the help of a doctor. All the steroids they're used is prescribed by a doctor legally. And that's why they have to get blood tests and have everything checked once in a while to make sure everything is working correctly. Not every man can do this. Having a steroid and a personal doctor to assist you is going to cost a lot of money. You first have to tell the doctor and make him believe that you need it for a good reason. Like, going to a bodybuilding competition. Professional bodybuilders spend more than $10,000 a month on steroid products and a doctor's help. Of course, the insurance isn't going to cover any of it either, so a bodybuilder has the money and can do this. But do you think they're completely safe? No, the damage is still being done to your body, and that's why bodybuilding is considered the most dangerous professional sport. In the last 13 years, only between the professional bodybuilders, 25 competitors died from heart failure, and that's with the average age of only 36 years old. But what is steroids and what does it do to your body? Testosterone is a very important hormone that's produced in the testes. It basically helps you grow muscles. One of the most important steroids that bodybuilders use is testosterone. Everybody has testosterone in their body, but these bodybuilders want a whole lot more to produce even more muscle. Your muscles are getting bigger, but there are other muscles that are getting bigger as well, and we're talking about the heart muscles. You might say the heart is one muscle, but that's not correct, because the heart is made up of a group of muscles, and because of testosterone and other steroids, the heart gets bigger and bigger. You might think that makes the pump stronger, but that's not the case. You're actually growing it in size, but you're also making it lazier, where the blood inside the heart does not pump easily, and a lot of blood pulls up inside the heart, causing it to get bigger. A normal man has a heart that weighs from 280 to 350 grams. You might not believe it, but a person that uses steroids, their heart weighs more than 450 grams. But that's not where it stops. It could go as high as 580 grams. When this happens, this is basically what heart failure is. But the question is, why did that 24-year-old have all that plaque build up inside his veins and artery? Any drug that enters the body has a whole lot of side effects, and some of them have huge side effects. The famous side effects of steroids is having acne, your testes get smaller. That's why it shrinks in size. Steroids also makes you more emotional and angry, but a side effect that you probably never heard of is cholesterol, and it raises it by 36%. Scientists haven't figured out why your cholesterol level rises after steroid use, but it's an extremely dangerous side effect, especially when it's not monitored by the doctor. You can't compare steroids to other narcotics, but the main problem is social media, because the men that use steroids usually have a lot of followers, and their followers are young boys, and that motivates them to either start using steroids or they got a get rich quick scheme. They say, look at this body, buy my protein powder and you could look just like me, even though he looks extremely unnatural and no protein power and a million years of working out could give you this body. But either way, a lot of people fall for it. So it's very important that young men are very familiar with this subject.